8.
Ask yourself the damn question. Is winning the only thing to you?
Sports today are not just played on the field. They're played every day, online, all over the world, by sports fans just like you.
Don't you dare breathe. That won't get you anywhere. If you don't think you're a winner, you don't belong here.
Fantasy Sports puts you in control of your own team. The Nick Bonsanto Show is proud to present the Star Fantasy League Show. Find out who to sit, who to start, how to play, and have your daily fantasy sports questions answered with your host, Jonathan Sprung, co-hosted by SFL CEO Zach Stanley and SFL COO Seth Young. The Star Fantasy League Show, on the air.
Make this game your finest hour.
Now.
Hello and welcome to the Star Fantasy League Show here on the Sports Byline USA Network. I am your host, Jonathan Sprung, joined as always by SFL CEO Zach Stanley.
You know, I always get geared up when I hear that intro. The man in the cage is just unbelievable.
The man in the cage is amazing.
He's unbelievable, and he still keeps forgetting me.
The man in the cage is amazing, but you know what? You know what else is also amazing? Nick Stablenko, who's filling in for the awful Seth Young.
I'm here.
Nick, welcome back. You took a little sabbatical because Seth decided he wanted to come back and do his job for once.
Yeah, thanks for coming back, Nick. Seth, you are not missed.
This is very true. On the Star Fantasy League Show, often our co-host Seth Young likes to be useless, but Nick actually brings it every time he sits down here. I'm actually worried you're coming for my job. I'm a little frightened.
Actually, Seth is an expert in pointless dribble. So,
yeah.
I don't know. If there was a degree for that, he would definitely...
You know, the thing of it is, I don't think I can replace Jonald's mailbag, though. I don't think I can even touch that. That's a priceless entity in this market.
Let's be honest. Nobody or nothing can replace Jonald's mailbag.
Exactly. I'm
Never
not
going to happen.
Even try. I think your job is pretty safe and secure.
Okay, I'm glad that you finally admitted it, that you have no chance whatsoever of replacing me. Scott, our producer, agrees. It's just never going to happen.
No chance whatsoever.
See, here we go. All right, now do I have to bring the scoreboard in here? I might.
Get out
I
of
might.
Here. You're ahead on the scoreboard. We are breaking down the NBA lineups today. You're also breaking down Friday's NBA schedule. And in the middle of that, sandwiched in nicely, guess what we have today, guys? We got Jonald's mailbag. Of course we do.
God, I love
And obviously today was the NBA trade deadline, so we're going to break that down as well. It's an action-packed Star Fantasy League show. So come back after the break. We're going to break down today's NBA lineups. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
So you're into fantasy.
You can stop the foreclosure process, lower your monthly mortgage payments, save your home and your credit, but you must act now. Call 800-274-7312. 800-274-7312. Not available in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson.
Nick Monsanto is proud to present the Star Fantasy League Show. Feel free to tweet the show at SFL Show.
Let's do this.
Time for your Star Fantasy League's NBA Fantasy Lineup Breakdown.
Yep.
That is right, Mr. Voiceover Cage Man. It is time to break down our lineups on StarFantasyLeagues.com for Thursday. It's a 3-game slate, which means we have absolutely nobody to pick from. It's a little bit harder today, right, guys?
It's a royal pain.
It was.
Wow, thank you for that analytical just awesomeness,
It
Zach.
takes a lot of strategy and thought. And I am intrigued to talk about my lineup, but we'll probably end up talking about Nick's.
This is probably true. Every time we have somebody else join us on the Star Fantasy League show, we let them break down the lineup.
Or somebody who doesn't know anything like Seth.
Seth.
Yeah.
Actually, we do have breaking news on the Star Fantasy League show. Seth just sent a message to me, and he wanted to tell Scott, the producer, he's adorable. That's an actual text I received from Seth. That's a little weird, right? Oh, okay, good. Scott likes
Scott
it. Wonderful.
verifies.
All right, so we are breaking down lineups. Nick, we're gonna go ahead and have you talk about your lineup. What the deal is? If you don't listen, first off, if you don't listen, what's wrong with you? Second off, if you don't play on StarFantasyLeagues.com, again, what are you doing? You're doing something wrong. All right, so for beginners, it's $100,000 salary cap, 2 guards, 2 forwards, 2 centers, 2 utility, any position. Got to stay under the cap. You get the most points, you win the most money. Easy game, right?
That was probably the hardest part about tonight, actually.
Was actually explaining it?
Yeah. Well, you do a very good job of that.
Oh,
Again,
thank you.
I couldn't take your place on that.
Oh, yeah.
He's really giving you a lot of good points.
He's trying to take my job.
I just want to come
Or
back.
yeah, I think he wants to substitute Seth permanently. I think that's the angle here.
Not gonna happen. All right, go ahead, Nick.
All right.
Since he all he could do is talk about how good I am, he can't even read his lineup. He's so flustered.
He's mesmerized.
He's flustered.
Jonald is a man, and I have Jonald in my lineup.
I don't think that's possible.
All right, so seriously, I had a tough time with tonight. I really wanted to play.
All right, we'll help you out. Go ahead.
I really wanted to play LeBron. I think he's going to have a monster game. I think that all the chatter about him and Durant is just going to go to his head, and I think he's going to play big.
If you listen to Wednesday's Star Fantasy League show, Zach listed LeBron James as his play of the day, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, a wrench has been thrown into the game tonight, and that is the return of Russell Westbrook, who literally cannot be productive unless he's putting up shots.
This is very true. Yeah,
so
that's what he does.
So that's part of it. I also think that LeBron is has elevated himself to another planet these last couple of weeks.
He doesn't like this whole Kevin Durant for MVP thing.
He doesn't, and Dwayne Wade hasn't been nearly as effective, and LeBron has needed to take over like he used to do in Cleveland, and I think tonight he's going to prove himself again.
I agree, but guess what? Neither of you have him in your lineup.
I don't even like him.
I do. I managed to get him in, but let's see how you did not manage to get him in, how your lineup looks.
All right, well, with the high price tag and the short slate, I thought it was really hard to get some quality players in there. So I lowered it a little bit, and I think my top dollar play tonight is Dwight Howard.
Yeah, Dwight Howard absolutely went off the other night. In 3 quarters, I believe he put up almost 40 fantasy points before, they were up 35 and just stopped playing.
Yeah, that was a massacre last night.
And hold on, and James Harden decided to put up, 57 points in 3 quarters the other night?
Yeah, James Harden, it was last night.
Yeah, the other night.
James Harden, in the last 3 minutes, I think he got an extra 16 or 17 fantasy points in the third quarter.
There was a stretch there where it went rebound, assist, three-pointer, rebound, assist. It was just points out the wazoo.
He had a full, as full as a stat sheet gets last night, really.
This is absolutely correct. Nick, who else you got? We love Dwight Howard. We're not going to complain about that whatsoever.
All right, sounds good. He
He's
also
a little
doesn't have to play
expensive.
against Bogut tonight, right?
I still haven't seen if Bogut's actually playing.
Well, all right,
I'm doubting he's going to play.
That's a late game. I mean, I haven't seen an official out for him, but I'm assuming he's not playing.
All right. Well, with Ty Lawson still being out, I put Fournier and Chandler, and I think Fournier is really one of the only bargain basement plays that I found tonight that I actually liked. And Chandler, I think he's going to play above his value. He's listed at $11,300. So I think he's definitely going to produce a little bit better than that price tag.
Yeah, Wilson Chandler, I mean, for his price, I feel like there were a couple other guys that were worth it tonight. Before Brandon Knight was down with injury, I feel like him, around the same price tag, I liked a little bit more. Klay Thompson, I also like a little bit more. I mean, it depends where you're putting in Wilson Chandler.
Klay in as well.
Okay, see, that's who I like around. They're around the same.
Yeah,
price
Chandler is
tag.
a nice item tonight. I think he got like 23 fantasy points last time they played, but the matchup is favorable, and if he's hitting his threes, he can put up some points. So
This is true.
You know, he's usually not going to cough up a dud. At worst, you're probably looking at like 16 fantasy points if he's not on his game.
Well,
so.
can you please tell me who actually is playing on this team tonight? Like, what's happening in this
I
game?
know they're getting a little depleted, aren't they?
I mean, they just traded away Jordan Hamilton, so he's not getting in minutes. Are we assuming those are going to Wilson Chandler, or are they going to somebody else, like Anthony
Randolph, maybe, yeah, who was announced late as a starter, but
I don't. This team confuses me.
Anthony Randolph. There was a lot of hope for him in Minnesota. That didn't work out, and it looks like it's going to be more of the same from him because even when he gets the minutes, he doesn't produce.
Or he puts up one amazing game and then completely disappears.
Like a month and a half ago, he had first half that he had like 20 fantasy points, and he actually went down from that in the second half. He could not produce. So
Oh yeah, that's not going to spell anything good for your fantasy team.
No siree. But you know what is going to spell good for your fantasy team?
Pork?
Playing on StarFantasyLeagues.com and listening to the Star Fantasy League show. All we do is help your fantasy league team. Come on.
I was going to say pork chops.
Wow. See, this is why we don't let you speak. All right, Nick, continue on your lineup. We're not too upset yet.
All right, I absolutely hate playing Ersan Ilyasova. I don't trust him at all. But again, with such a short slate, I couldn't find anybody at the forward position, and he comes in at just under $9,000. I had to play him.
I love the whole like. I
don't like him. Every time I play him, he just doesn't do what I want him to do.
He's an absolute fantasy disaster.
He
really is.
He's a fantasy disaster.
He drives me crazy, and
the worst roller coaster you can have in this game.
He's the reverse of matchup proof. He doesn't do well against favorable matchups.
Yeah, take a guy that you don't know when or if he's going to produce and throw Larry Drew into the mix, and you got a real issue.
Yeah, that whole team's. I mean, no Brandon Knight tonight, so Walters is a big play. If you didn't have, do you have Walters in your lineup?
That was a late one. I missed it out. I missed out on it, but we talked about that.
Yeah, Nate Walters tonight. He is one of the absolute value steals of the night. He's been getting 30 fantasy points a night for like $5,000. He's up to 84.66 right now, but he was like around 5,000-6,000 as of last week. So
see, my problem was I had a lot of guards in my lineup tonight.
That is a problem. I have 4 guards as well in my lineup. Continue. We gotta round out your lineup.
All right, I got David Lee in there, hoping that Bogut is out again, and I think that Lee will get most of the attention down low. I don't really see anybody else that's going to be doing well. Maurice Spates had that big game last week or whatever.
That one big game.
The one big,
like 44 fantasy points, and then
that's going to draw people to take him. I don't like him. I just don't like him. So I have David Lee in. I think he's going to be a big play tonight.
Yep, I agree on David Lee. I have him in my lineup as well. All right, who else we got?
I played J.J. Hickson. I also played Klay Thompson and Russell Westbrook.
Ooh, you went with a 26-minute cap
guy?
I
did. I thought it was going to be more like 28. They just came out with that recently. But whatever. I mean, I still, for $15,000, the ceiling is high. And, I mean, the last time he came back, he played like 33 minutes on a bad knee. So we'll see what happens.
All right, Zach, please explain. Please let me know how you feel about Westbrook, because I am staying away from him for the foreseeable future.
There's absolutely no way that I was willing to start Westbrook tonight. It's not the most favorable matchup for him, and I can't see him getting more than 26 minutes. This has been a little bit longer stay for him not playing. So
how do you feel about people that are coming off long-term injuries like this? Like how often? I mean, in season-long fantasy, you can kind of just ride it out, whatever. But in daily fantasy, how long are you staying away from a guy
unless
like
they're painfully low? I avoid them like the plague.
Well, especially star players if they're 18.
I usually give them 3 to 5 games.
All right,
that's perfect.
So then let me ask you something though. Okay, so Westbrook's just under 15,000 right now. What would you do? When would you actually play him? Like what price would you go as low as 12?
I don't think it has anything to do with.
No, it doesn't have to do with price.
Yeah,
it has to do with when you think that he's actually going to get the kind of minutes to get the output that matches his price.
Fair enough.
And the key is to timing when that actual game is, so that you put him in, he gets that full slate of minutes, and he hasn't risen up yet to where he's usually at.
Yeah, I feel like exactly. See, Scott agrees. Yeah, I mean, I'm having a problem with the $15,000 price tag, even though that's not part of it, because it's really hard to hit 30 to 35 points of value. Yeah. That's where you need to be at $15,000 to be hitting your value, and I don't feel like it's just not worth it, because even if he's playing well and he's on that strict minutes cap, if he gets to 25 points in 20 minutes, guess what? He's not really going to play that much more.
You know my theory, though. I love playing in the big tournaments, the GPPs. So not a lot of people have him in right now, is from what I see on our site.
On StarFantasyLeagues.com, that is true. Not a lot of people have him. Coming back, we got John Olds Mailbag.
Oh yeah,
Mailbag.
And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
When you struggle.
$296-1325.
The Star Fantasy League show is now part of the Nick Monsanto Show. Information is key to being a successful fantasy team owner, and the guys have all the updated info you need right now. Okay, fantasy sports fans.
There's a letter in your mailbox.
Time to dig into Donald's mailbag for your questions and comments.
Read the mail, read the mail, read the mail.
Jump in the game. Send your questions and comments to the Star Fantasy League's team by tweeting at SFL Show.
Guess what time it is, guys?
Read the mail.
No, it's not read the mail. Nick, do you know what time it is?
Is it? Wait a second.
He doesn't know.
Oh no, I thought I had it.
Mailbag.
Oh, it's mail time. That's right. Okay.
Mailbag time.
All right.
All of our listeners just tuned out because they're like, man, who is just yelling mailbag in our ears? That's really obnoxious.
Read the mail.
And if you actually think that's obnoxious, seriously, turn off your radio. We don't want to hear you anyways. We don't want you to listen to us if you think we're obnoxious.
So turn off your radio.
If you do think we're obnoxious, tweet us at SFL Show if you think we're obnoxious, because we love to hear from you. We love your hate mail. It's fine. We take it. We take it in stride. All right, mailbags today is filled with some interesting characters. Let's start out. Miss Cleo writes, you guys remember Miss Cleo?
I love Miss Cleo.
Okay.
Miss Cleo's my
I am seeing a repeat of the 2014 Winter Olympics. 2010 Winter Olympics, where Team Canada beat Team USA in both men's and women's hockey. Call me now for your free reading. Right?
Well, Miss Cleo, unfortunately, that is what happened in 2010, except those both occurred in the gold medal game, which is not possible.
Yep.
So shut your mouth.
And I think
you are so against Miss Cleo.
I think Miss Cleo was also arrested because she falsely prophesized quite a bit, and this is going to be another false prophecy.
Now how could I do know she was arrested, but I just wanted to imagine those like late night shows just making fun of her by putting her videos up with like jail bars in front of them.
Can you imagine all the poor people that she preyed on?
Oh, come on.
It's really horrifying.
You never
to think
called
about.
one of those back in the day just to screw around with them?
Well, yeah, that's the difference, is that there are actually people that care.
That's true. Yeah, I used to call those and be like,
well, tell me about my lost grandfather.
Exactly. Is my dog coming back? It's like, oh, yes, he is. I didn't have a dog. Oh, that's a little weird, Miss Cleo. You owe me my money back.
I see sunlight in your future.
All right, so is anybody thinking, what are you guys thinking about Friday's game?
I'm thinking.
Wait, is it Friday? Yeah, it's tomorrow, right?
It's tomorrow at
Canada,
noon,
USA
Eastern,
men's
9
hockey?
Pacific.
I'm thinking that we should probably just have an ambulance parked out front. There's probably going to be a heart attack at some point.
It's going to be very stressful
unbelievable.
tomorrow from face-off.
I've said this before, but I really believe that this is the best team that the U.S. has put on the ice.
He did say that. He said it on the show.
I did.
It would be heartbreaking if they lost tomorrow. They really would. They deserve it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
And there's a reason that we are drinking these USA cans.
Yeah, that is true. Drink it for USA. Good times.
USA!
Star Fantasy League's offices tomorrow will be taking a break from work to watch that game because Zach, our CEO over here, loves to make us watch sports because we're a sports company.
Yeah,
hey,
I've willingly shut down the office. Unfortunately, I think there's a couple people that don't even understand what's going on.
It's perfect. You know what? It's USA pride. I think they can get behind USA pride.
I mean,
we'll be in unison.
Just think about your country.
Yeah,
you know?
that's
it's
very
not.
true.
It's not about the sport that's being played. It's about getting behind the team, and I can't wait.
We'll be there.
I'm very excited. I can't wait. And I'm actually contemplating getting up at like 6:45 in the morning for the early game, but that probably won't happen.
Yeah, that's pretty early.
That's wishful thinking.
Let's move on because that's definitely not happening. Judge Judy writes, apparently Ray Rice knocked his girlfriend out at a casino, and it was all caught on surveillance video. Could his career arc be heading towards rock bottom?
I'd like to step aside for a second and thank Judge Judy for just being such a frequent listener. She's written in.
This is the second
time
she's
written in a couple times.
And with excellent comments.
Well, no, this is one. This had to do with some
This is disgusting.
This is her space.
Yeah,
this is disgusting.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And it's unfortunate that this, that this is going on. And I think what's going to happen is the NFL, as they like to do, will come out and try to protect the shield by instilling some new rules if incidents like these take place.
They already have those
Unfortunately,
rules.
this is the nature of the beast. It's a cultural problem. It is, and I'm not talking about the culture where the players come from. I'm talking about the NFL. This is part of the culture in the NFL.
Thuggery,
violence, and it's disgusting. That's the word I have for it. It's disgusting.
Now, I am a big fan of making sure that we let the whole situation play out, but this does not look good for Ray Rice.
No, it's on camera.
It's
on camera, isn't it?
Well, I mean,
it is on camera. That's
yes,
true.
but I mean, his agent came out and said that there's a lot more that happened, but regardless, if you swung at your woman, that's a problem. That's
and knocked
just
her
a
unconscious.
Problem. That's a big problem.
That is,
and he ruined my fantasy team last year, so I will not be drafting him this year.
I'm glad we turned it around.
I'm serious.
He could have a lot more problems than that.
Yep.
Yeah, he
really
could
big.
be.
This could be bad.
He could be looking at a different uniform next season. We'll say that much. It might not be a one that he wants to wear.
And honestly, I don't recall him being in the news previously about any sort of issues like this.
I can't recall anything off the top of my head either.
Well, it came out of nowhere for me, but it's truly a shame, and it's truly a shame that this has to go on and to face the sport we love. Forget the brand. I don't really care what they're thinking about, but it's bad for the sport, and it's sad.
I completely agree. All right, let's move on from something sad to something a little lighter. Jason Collins writes, the Miami Heat opened up a roster spot by dealing away Roger Mason Jr. to the Kings for a second-round pick. He was just cut, by the way. Do you know how I can get in touch with Pat Riley personally? Jason Collins, you're in luck. The Miami Heat not only have a roster spot, the Clippers have a roster spot. The Brooklyn Nets have an open roster spot. He got worked out by the Brooklyn Nets today.
Well, as for Pat Riley, I do actually have contact with him. We go to the same store for our hair gel.
You go to the same store?
Yes.
You mean there's a chain that you go to, and he also goes to the same chain in a different place?
Correct.
Okay, I was going to make sure that he doesn't drive up to Rochester or fly to Rochester. It's probably a private
But I
jet,
tweeted him about his hair, and I talked about how much I loved it back when he used to coach the Knicks. And he was very responsive.
You tweeted at him back when he coached the Knicks, back when Twitter wasn't
No,
around.
I talked to him about how much I liked his hair
and
the fact that he's held it together so well in these recent years. I mean, he is a slick fox, despite the fact that I'm not a fan of the Miami Heat.
Hold on. Who is? Even their own fans aren't really fans of the Miami Heat.
Yeah, I know. They left with plenty of time on the clock in the biggest game of the year.
Yeah, and that's not the first time they've done that.
Yeah,
so.
Beat the traffic, Miami.
Leading to one of your own players calling out your fans and telling them not to come back. That's smart. Yeah.
Do you even think they would welcome Jason Collins? Do you even think that? I mean, I think they might be ugly.
I'm wondering if the citizens of Miami appreciate the banners more that they have up in the rafters now, or Will Smith's song about the city.
It's definitely Will Smith. It's something. Welcome to Miami, where the players play. That one.
Yeah, it's like their anthem.
Yeah, they don't care. Let's be in South Beach. They don't care about their sports.
They don't, really and that was the one thing with LeBron going there that it's like, man, how can you go to? I understand that the pieces were coming together and whatever, but this franchise has the most despicable fans, and I hope some people in Miami are listening right now.
Yeah, you're despicable. All right,
that is how I feel.
We're going to move on from speaking of despicable, Father Mohagan writes in every day. Great listener. Which of the trade deadline deals do you see having a significant impact on the playoffs and possibly beyond? I have two listed that I think could actually do some damage. I want to hear what you guys think.
Okay, well, I have one.
You have just one?
I think, okay, if I'll go since I'm the non-basketball expert, if you will. Evan Turner. I think it's a big switch. He was drafted to be the number one guy in Philly. Obviously, that didn't pan out. And I think now we see what kind of an NBA player he can be. He's going to move to a team where he can fit in a little different role. I think they're probably going to use him more defensively than offensively.
Yeah, he's going to be a shutdown guy.
Yeah, he was pretty much the only good defender on the 76ers.
No, not only good, only defender.
Okay, yes. And yeah, I'm so intrigued about this. I think it was a perfect move by Indiana.
And he's really well rounded too. This season, 17.4 points, 6 rebounds, 3.7 assists, 1 steal. Those are pretty good stats.
He really is. And the fact that he gets to be in a role position where he doesn't have to do too much, I think it's perfect for him. I think it's perfect for the organization. And I'm guessing that Frank Vogel is extremely pleased right now to not have Danny Granger on his team anymore.
I was going to say, poor Danny Granger, man.
He's sulky Danny Granger.
In Indiana for a while, and I think he's going to miss out on their best title shot.
Yeah, Danny Granger, since he came back, you anticipated, yes, he's not going to get as many minutes. He's not going to be in the starting rotation, all of that.
Rotation.
But he has been a shell of himself.
This is very true. Yeah, he's down. We'll get to it. There's a question about him as well.
He was one of those guys that I was always hoping that he would come around and he'd grow up and get his game together a little bit. He showed flashes of that in the playoffs over the years, but
he always did more with less. I mean,
he liked to mouth off at LeBron in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what that did for him.
Yeah, really.
We're always big fans of that.
The one trade that you guys didn't mention is Steve Blake to the Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
I actually really like that as a third, because remember last year they had Jarrett Jack coming off the bench as the third guard. I feel like Steve Blake could do a lot of the same things that Jarrett Jack did for them last season.
It does kill his fantasy value. That's for
this
sure.
Is very
I'm actually glad you brought that up. I wasn't thinking about that, and that's definitely true. Steve Blake is an asset to any team off the bench. He is a rich man's Luke Ridenour.
He's a career 39% three-point shooter, and guess what? He's going to have a lot of chances to spot up in the corner for 3 on that team.
Absolutely.
They're going to live and die by that.
Well, I mean, if you're playing him and Steph Curry together, because when Klay Thompson comes out, I'm assuming Blake goes in. I
honestly think they are the only team that can live by the 3 because they are so good.
They have the top
shooters,
2 guys in the league.
They're that good.
They shouldn't have to, though. Bogut
Splash
needs
Brothers.
to stay on the floor. He needs to stay on the floor. That's all there is to it.
All right, I got a last question for you. Danny Granger writes, we were just talking about, if I'm bought out in clear waivers, which contender do you expect me to join, and will I actually make an impact? He's definitely being bought out by Philly.
Absolutely.
There's no way he's playing there. Who do you think he goes to if he goes to a contender, and will he actually play? Because this season, let's see it. He's played 34 games in the last 2 years, 8 points, 35% shooting. He's just doing nothing. He's down almost 7% shooting. I mean, is he a possibility?
Are we just talking about places where he could fit, or
like
monetarily,
who do you think actually is going to
financially?
take? No, who's just going to take him?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a non-playoff team.
Okay, yeah, but why would you grab him if you're a non-playoff team? If he gets bought out, you got to pay for him, and he may not resign.
Well, there's teams that are trying to show their fans that they're actually doing something and all this crap.
Who's excited?
I'm thinking of the actual contenders, and I'm thinking of the Spurs and the Thunder and the Heat and the Pacers. Who is going to want him? Maybe the Spurs.
Yeah, I was going to say that's
maybe the
actually,
Spurs because they've had injury issues.
Well, and I feel like Pop can fit him. It doesn't matter about the player; it's all about the system with Pop.
Yeah, Pop managed to fit in Steven Jackson for a few minutes a game for a while there. So yeah, I mean, this is a guy that if you're not going to play his way, you're not going to play. So
yeah, I guess that is true. He is definitely the person I think that can be fit into it's like a Danny Green type, maybe backing up Danny Green. Who knows? And coming up after the break, we're going to break down Friday NBA on StarFantasyLeagues.com. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League Show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
$800-989-1795, 800-989-1795.
You're listening to the Star Fantasy League Show on the Nick Monsanto Show here on the Sports Byline USA Network. Contact the StarFantasyLeagues.com guys via Twitter at SFL Show.
That is right. contact us at, contact us. I said contact. That's not a word. Contact us at SFL Show if you want to hit us up on Twitter. Send us your messages. Send us how you like the show. Send us anything you want about StarFantasyLeagues.com. If you have any questions about how to play daily fantasy sports, we're the experts, right? Isn't that what we're
We
here for?
are. Hit us up, and I'll let you know what I think.
And
it's all going to be good things.
If you tweet at SFL Zach, that's a completely different beast. He might tell you other things that are unrelated to sports. Those are not the. Yeah,
Kinda
those are not our
weird,
opinions.
I like to talk about crickets
and
cotton linens.
Oh, they actually. You know they have a candle at. They have a candle at Yankee Candle called like fresh cotton.
Yeah, it smells great.
It smells awkward.
I enjoy it.
Candle master.
How would you know that, John?
Because
you have like a cycle of
on.
Yankee Candles going on in your office.
Because COO Seth Young and myself were actually at Yankee Candle holding hands the other day, and people gave us weird looks. I don't appreciate that.
That would be upsetting.
I mean, his wife was there too, so it wasn't that weird, but we were all holding hands. It's a little weird.
Yeah, I would imagine you guys go on Yankee Candle shopping sprees, which is a little strange to people like me that like to shop for manly things.
This is very, very true.
Like steak.
Bronus.
We don't do that.
And steak.
All right, you know what's manly? Let's talk about daily fantasy basketball on StarFantasyLeagues.com. We got Friday lineup tomorrow. We got a lot of games to talk about.
I've got to say, tomorrow night is going to be the most ridiculous night of daily fantasy basketball since this time last year.
I thought you were going to say since this time last week.
I almost said ever.
You mean last year?
This time last year, trade deadline.
Oh, okay.
I mean, regardless of the fact that there weren't many huge trade deadline deals that went on, there was so much that went on, so many people flipping and flopping. Who's going to be able to play tomorrow night? Who's going to pass physicals quick enough? Blah, 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 blah. And we got to look at all of that, and we got to understand who's going to get the minutes, who's subbing in, who's going to take the minutes for people that are gone. It's going to be interesting.
All right, that's
crazy.
That's exactly where I wanted to start off. We got a bunch of games on Friday, but a lot of them involved the teams that had some trades going on. I have the full list of trades. Obviously, we didn't go over them because a lot of them are just like role players. We mentioned the two big trades we think are actually going to affect teams. The other one I didn't mention before was Brooklyn got Marcus Thornton. We talked about that the day before. That might be a little bit interesting, but I don't really think that's going to affect too much. But Marcus Thornton, your value is complete garbage now. You're done.
It's fair.
Done for good. But let us please move on. And we're going to talk about teams that have complete shakeups tomorrow. I'm talking about teams like the Lakers. What are the Lakers going to look like tomorrow? Because they're always a team you want to target. Seriously, who's playing? Is Pau Gasol playing? He might return tomorrow.
You know, I'm not entirely sure.
Are they even entirely sure? They said Jody Meeks is playing. They said Xavier Henry's getting reevaluated. Nick Young's getting reevaluated.
It's hard to say that anybody on this team is worth looking at. Maybe Chris Kaman. Maybe if Pau isn't playing. I also think that despite I can't even talk about it. I was going to say maybe Kendall Marshall, but he'll be going up against Rondo, and there's still going to be some cycling going. He'll get a lot of minutes.
I was like,
there's a shot, and Kendall Marshall's been playing really well.
Yeah, but that I did look at that. I thought he was going to be the biggest benefactor of Steve Blake leaving the team, but then you come up against Rajon.
You're right. Unfortunately, it's not an ideal matchup tomorrow night, and
I think there's better options out there at the position.
There are, yeah.
So I would definitely go. But I mean, we are looking at him. He's going to be a person in the future. Definitely pay attention to Kendall Marshall, because he has nobody behind him now. He really doesn't.
It seems like they're ready to give him his run.
He's
really
shooting the lights. He's the best three-point shooter in the league percentage-wise. He is killing it.
And honestly, I would be so disappointed in Mike D'Antoni if suddenly, he's thinking, well, we'll cycle in Jordan Farmar and give him his minutes rather than letting Kendall Marshall continue to grow, because I think this guy could be really good.
You're not disappointed in D'Antoni already?
No, we are.
I literally talk about him every show.
Yeah,
I literally do. Look at me. I'm turning red.
I don't know why he still has.
What
a job
about the
with
other
Lakers.
side of that game? The Lakers at home against Boston. I feel like since obviously the Lakers are one of the worst in the league on defense, especially against the two positions, shooting guard and center. Remember who we said is playing shooting guard, who doesn't deserve to play shooting guard, is Gerald Wallace. Had 24 fantasy points the other night. I feel like at his price, he's around 5 to 7,000 in that area. I love him tomorrow.
Yeah, he's definitely worth a look. I think that pretty much everyone in the starting lineup, besides maybe Brandon Bass, is worth a look tomorrow. Solinger should have and I think Solinger has dipped a little bit because his last couple games haven't been favorable matchups. He hasn't put up a lot of points. He's played well, but he hasn't put up a lot of points. And I think that he could have a really big game tomorrow.
I think
and he should have value.
He's been battling a little bit of injury. They said he's kind of been struggling. He's not playing. He's not practicing as hard as he can. I think that has something to do with it, definitely.
Well, I'm ready to watch him. I'm ready to watch him flourish tomorrow.
I love Rondo tomorrow. I
love Rondo, and I also really like Jeff Green tomorrow.
Ooh, man, I got all three of those guys, Rondo, Wallace, and Green on my radar. All right, let's move to another game where a team might be in flux. They're in flux tonight, the Denver team. They're playing against Chicago. Would you even look anywhere near that team for anything?
Absolutely not. In fact, who I'm going to be looking at is Joakim Noah, who should just have a field day tomorrow as long as Denver can keep this game close, which is a little iffy. It's only a 7.5-point spread, but it's going to be on a back-to-back. So who knows what's going to happen there. But last time Noah played Denver, which was this season, 11 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists. He is playing so well right now.
Nobody can guard him.
Wait, so, I mean, we had Fournier in tonight. You wouldn't look at him tomorrow? I mean, he's still really low.
Fournier should if Fournier remains around that salary, he should definitely have value
It depends. We want to see how he plays tonight. I mean, they got some guys coming in. We don't know what that. It's Brian Shaw. He's a rookie head coach.
It depends on who you're looking at because there's going to be so many names out there tomorrow that you can give an eye to. So many people that are traded to new teams that aren't going to be able to play yet.
Yeah, I completely agree. All right, moving on. I do like Noah a lot tomorrow. Let's move to a team that is going to look a lot different tomorrow, and that is the Philadelphia 76ers, who traded away basically their entire – I said this yesterday's show. I knew they were going to trade away at least two of those pieces. They traded away Hawes and Turner, but not Young, who's the one that was complaining the most. I feel so bad for him.
I have to be honest, I have Thaddeus Young written down for tomorrow because they –
You should.
And Lavoy Allen's gone.
Yes, okay. Lavoy Allen's gone. They got back – Byron Mullins is going to be their starting center.
And
you
Nerlens Noel will be getting some minutes.
He's not ready. He's not going to play this year. There's no way he plays this season. Why would you rush him back if he's your cornerstone piece?
You're probably right.
Yeah, that's not smart. Although they're a pretty bad franchise. They might bring him back.
I don't know what the starting lineup's going to look like tomorrow. It's going to be crazy, but I think –
What about somebody isn't Tony Roten? He's probably going to be in line for some minutes back there.
I think Thaddeus Young is worth a look. I think James Anderson is worth a look tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, it depends what this team looks like. I'm scared, honestly. Like I said, I usually don't play against I don't play players against the Dallas team because Dallas is they're middle of the road against every position. I feel like there's better picks everywhere for matchups.
James Anderson, for the minutes that he's been getting, has been pretty solid.
Danny Granger, do you think he even touches the floor?
I don't even think he gets on that team. I don't even think he's in uniform once.
Well, he won't be in uniform tomorrow.
No, I mean at all. I don't think he's
I don't think he even touches the floor.
I don't think he's a Philadelphia 76er ever. Like Andrew Bynum. He won't ever play in that uniform. Right? Wow. He's getting bought out. There's 100% guarantee he's getting bought out. Yeah, he doesn't make any sense for that franchise. I just do not see it whatsoever.
How many total minutes do you think Bynum will see in Indiana?
4.
4 for the rest of the year.
It's
possible.
I have no idea. Why would you screw? Especially
depends on how close those games are.
Especially with Turner, do they need another guy? I don't think so.
Well, he's a big man.
But I'm saying, do you want to screw up the chemistry in that team? No, I don't think so.
I don't. The only thing I could see happening is maybe lots of foul trouble, and you have to play him.
Well, Frank Vogel won't tolerate his crap. So if he's going to get minutes, he's going to get it for a grace period, and if he doesn't convert and play hard, then he's going to be done.
We love Frank Vogel.
This is true. All right, I want to move on to another team. Man, I'm like a broken record here. Another team that will look completely different tomorrow night. The Cleveland Cavaliers. They're playing at Toronto. They just traded away some pieces. They got Spencer Hawes. I'm kind of interested to see what that does. He might not even be there tomorrow.
No, they're saying that he will be.
Oh, they're saying he's
that
actually
he will be available to play, that they didn't even give him a physical.
Okay, now, oh my God, that's bad.
And the trade is complete. So, yeah, he will be available tomorrow night. It's going to be very interesting. Well, I don't like anybody on Cleveland regarding the interior. I don't think that's good.
Well, the strange thing is they've already said that Waiters, Miles, and Varejao are out. So if Spencer Hawes is playing, he's going to get a lot of run in his first game there.
Yeah, absolutely. And how about, Jarrett Jack was a name that was tossed around a little bit at the trade deadline too. Could actually hit his value pretty easily tomorrow night if all those guys are out.
Are you listening to Seth? Are you Seth? Seth, for some reason, brought up Jarrett Jack the other day.
We're not criticizing you because you mentioned Jarrett Jack. I actually have him written down because he is worth a thought with nobody there.
It's only because Seth brought it up.
Seth has been talking about Jarrett Jack. Well, why not Jarrett Jack? He's starting. Well, why not? Because he plays like 10 minutes a half, and they shuffle him out. But tomorrow night they can't shuffle him out.
They can't, exactly. When you literally have that many injuries, you have to give somebody a look, especially when they're at his price tag.
You know a guy you actually really have to give a look at tomorrow is Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, I think the intriguing part of this game is on the other side of the ball, and that is with both Kyle Lowry and, in my opinion, DeMar DeRozan because although look at Cleveland against the small forward position, 29th in the league. And DeMar DeRozan has improved his game so much. He's been playing so well. I think he'll take full advantage of this matchup. Who do they have to defend him?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Literally, nobody. They don't have anything at all. All right, the last game I want to touch on really quickly is Atlanta and Detroit. There's a lot of defensive lapses in this game for sure. I'm looking at Josh Smith tomorrow night.
I agree with you.
We keep talking about this playing against your old team. They're at home. I think this is going to be an opportunity for Josh Smith to go out for one of his 28 and 12 and like 5 assists, one of those games.
Right? I agree with you. This is a good game for him. This is one where you'd want to give him a look. And I think that on the other side of the ball, Iona's still out.
Yep.
And Millsap, heavier minutes last game. Was that last night?
The other night, yeah. Correct.
He should continue to get heavy minutes. And Elton Brand, who has come in and played a lot of minutes.
Yeah, I can't believe him
last night. He'll be on a day of rest. He'll be good to go. And he is somebody that has shown throughout the course of his career that when he gets the minutes, he is fully capable. And Detroit doesn't defend the center position that well.
Yeah, I actually like Drummond for that reason as well, because who the heck is going to guard him tomorrow night?
Keep your fingers crossed that he doesn't get into foul trouble.
No, don't even. It's not even about keeping your fingers crossed. It's hoping that he only gets 4 instead of 6.
Drummond boy,
fine.
He gets 5 every game.
I think that Drummond actually could be a really good play too, because he's kind of one of those guys he's inching towards the top. He's not in the upper echelon as far as
his
price tag.
He's close.
Yeah,
he's only a couple years in.
Yeah. He could also hit that 40 to 50 point range, and now you're looking at getting a guy like that for like 17 or 18,000.
He's like mid-18s right now.
He's hovering right around that area with like Al Jefferson and those kinds of guys. If they can go off, you're exceeding value very, very easily.
He doesn't need a favorable matchup because he rebounds the ball like nobody else. He's an athletic big man.
Double-double.
He scores. Yeah, he's a walking double-double machine, but he's also a walking foul machine.
Absolutely.
That's the absolute only problem with him. I definitely have some issues with him. Who else do you like tomorrow night, Zach? I know we're not ready for your play of the day because you love to throw it out there way too early before break.
Well, okay, LaMarcus Aldridge
not playing.
And Batum actually got sent home today with the flu or something. He's got a
fake flu thing going around.
Well, he's got a fever, and Darrell Wright and Thomas Robinson, both really low in salary, could get big minutes tomorrow night.
Yeah, Thomas Robinson's been starting, right? He's getting in there. Or
Darrell
Wright started.
Yeah, Darrell Wright started, but Thomas Robinson got big minutes. If Batum's out, I think they'll both be thrown in there to approach 30 minutes, and. I also in that game. I also really like Damian Lillard because they have no offensive options.
What about Robin Lopez against the 24th ranked Utah center position?
Yeah,
you don't like. I love. Lopez.
I think Robin Lopez could definitely produce tomorrow night. But Damian Lillard's a guy.
Yeah, Damian Lillard.
He could take over this game. And 19th ranked Jazz against point guard. It's still a favorable matchup for him. The other thing that I think people aren't going to think about tomorrow night in terms of value is Marc Gasol and Zach Randolph, who go off against the Clippers every time they play them.
I completely agree. And quick, what's your play of the day? You got one?
Kyle Lowry.
Oh, there we go. It is Kyle Lowry. You heard it right here on the Star Fantasy League show. Zach loves Kyle Lowry tomorrow. Coming back, we're going to wrap this show up. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
This special announcement.
are typical and some may not qualify. The consultation is free and so is the call, so call right now. 1-800-999-1064. That's 1-800-999-1064.
Play fantasy sports for cash prizes.
Be 2
Join
minutes.
the top daily
2
and
minute
weekly
club.
fantasy leagues in the country at starfantasyleagues.com. Now, back to the Star Fantasy League show with Jonathan, Zach, and Seth.
You almost made it an entire show, voiceover guy, without forgetting about Nick Stablenko. How do you do that? We're back on the Star Fantasy
He likes to do it at the beginning and the end.
Yeah, we're here.
Big
We're
boss.
wrapping it up on the Star Fantasy League show with Seth, and Seth. No, that's not right. Is that right? Jonathan, Zach, and Nick.
I'm right
no
here.
Seth.
He wishes it with Seth 1, Seth 2, and Seth 3. That's what he wishes.
I feel like this show, since we're doing this show 5 days a week this week, I feel like this is just a revolving door of co-hosts. It's just me. I'm the constant here.
You are the constant.
I know, because this is what I do for a living. It's got to be my thing. Zach, I believe you're leaving us tomorrow.
I'm not going to be here tomorrow. I have a good friend's birthday party to attend to.
Boo. Buzz him.
I know.
Buzz him.
Buzz me.
No, come on now. All right, but yeah,
It'll be great food.
Yeah,
but
you're leaving us. Nick, you're coming back tomorrow,
I'm
right?
in.
And guess what? It's gonna be me, you, and Seth Young.
Let's go.
Oy.
I'm ready to
My
go.
2 teddy
It'll be
bears.
good. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, Nick, you gonna come to the gym and play basketball with us before?
The gym?
Yeah, we play we've been
What's
playing
a
some
gym?
pickup hoops before we do the show.
If I knew what a gym was, I'd probably
He
shake
still
his
seems
hand.
intrigued.
Oh, I'm intrigued. But guess what? Playing basketball is great. You know what else is playing great? Playing daily fantasy basketball on starfantasyleagues.com. Zach, tell us what we got going on this weekend, every day on starfantasyleagues.com.
We have free rolls every day at SFL.
This is true.
And it's so exciting because you can get on the site. You can join up with the site. You don't have to worry about depositing or whether, you're
Only if you want to.
Right, only if you want to, whether you're hurting your wallet or anything like that.
I love
we
the
have
free rolls.
we have tons of different free games for you to experience daily fantasy. Get on there.
Yeah, you got a $5 free credit. All you got to do is tweet at SFL Show. We had one guy who just tweeted us. He got free cash. That's all he had to do. At SFL Show, $5 free. Easiest thing in the world.
Over $200 in free rolls every week.
And guess what? Tomorrow, NBA Friday on StarFantasyLeagues.com, $2,000 guaranteed. It's going to be a big, big day. If you haven't learned anything about daily fantasy sports and you're ready to jump in, what are you waiting for? Free money is awaiting you.
Absolutely.
It is. It's the
Yeah,
best thing in
gain
the
your
world.
expertise by just playing some games.
It's a great way. That's the thing I love about it. You learn more about the players than you ever could if you were just watching.
This is
You
true.
Go in depth.
And guess what? It makes watching the game that much more enjoyable. It really does. And if you guys don't know who the heck Nando DiColo is, we'll help you make a better lineup next time. See you later, guys.
Go USA!
Go USA!
Great show, guys. Nice job. We'll talk to you tomorrow.